Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about Marvel. I guess we should also just briefly say it's been 5,000 years since we recorded last. It's entirely my fault. Hopefully, we'll have a new, more consistent schedule coming out soon because now I'm finished school and I just need to get a job.
Yeah, things happen. People get busy in life, summertime. Yeah.
Yeah, so Dan, you texted me a couple hours ago and you said, hey, do you want to talk about Marvel movies on the podcast? But I assume that you have some sort of structure that you want to go with because normally we don't just talk about Marvel or like a genre like that. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I've been kind of stewing this over in my brain, mainly because of like online discourse and, watching Marvel movies and etc. And I kind of want to focus in on the Phase 5 movies, which have been, divisive, let's just say, amongst people. And yeah, I was just kind of thinking that I saw Deadpool Wolverine like the weekend it came out, maybe the weekend after. I can't remember. Anyway, it was really good. We'll get to it.
I didn't see it.
No, and then that's fine. But it just made me kind of think that there was just this discourse of people, and we've talked about this before, like off mic and etc. in our own lives, that I don't understand sometimes what people want or critique in movies anymore. But we'll get to all that. I think, we'll just start back with the first one, supposedly in the Phase 5. Again, I don't really look at their charts very much. I just kind of was like, oh, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh, I didn't like that one.
Which came out in February 2023.
Oh, no, wait, I didn't see that one.
You didn't see that one? Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did. It was directed by Peyton Reed, written by Jeff Loveness. And, so the budget on this one was $200 million, which was up from the first one, which was 130. The second one was 162. And the box office on this one, the third one that is, was 476, which was down, of course, from the first one, which made 519, and the second one made 622. Caveat, of course, there was still COVID restrictions at that time, but still it's lower, of course, right? And this one, it was post everything, and I think people were really kind of reluctant about it. Here's the thing. I did enjoy the movie. Admittedly, I haven't watched it since I saw it in theater. Maybe on a rewatch, I would like it less or I'd like it more. I didn't watch Loki season 2, so I don't know if it was related in any way with the Kang villain.
I did watch Loki season 2.
Yes.
I also don't remember if it was related with the Kang villain.
Sure. Well, so there was a version of Kang in the quantum realm. And
okay.
The reason he was there, he was imprisoned there. And supposedly he was one of the worst ones versus the He Who Remains, he was the one keeping it all together in a sense, right?
Okay.
From season 1 anyway of Loki, if I recall. And then spoilers, Sif kills him. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. It's a cool version that the others are sort of afraid of. It's different from the He Who Remains, but it's still a Kang. Cool. I liked that. The movie did have some bad editing, and I know I'm not an editor, but I was still ooh, there were some weird jumps, some weird stuff there. And the story structure was weird in that, Janet Van Dyne had been in the quantum realm before, and the movie hinges on that she had been there before and actually had these adventures comparatively to when she says she'd never, it's just a realm of nothing. Not the case, right? But the whole movie, they're like, well, tell us what's up. And she's like, I don't have the time to tell you. But they're walking through a forest. And you're like, you clearly have the time. You're walking through a forest.
The time, yeah.
Yeah. So there was that element, which I don't like when movies do that for no reason. If they were under attack or something, you're like, okay, yeah, they don't have time. But, they did have time. And but then overall, I did like some of the battle sequences. It was kind of fun. It's always fun when Ant-Man goes giant, and then, they didn't really play around too much with the shrinking, which was kind of, he's already shrunk, he's in the quantum realm, so that was kind of lacking in there. Some of the designs were kind of neat on the creatures and the quantum realm stuff and etc. And it was good / bad in my opinion, because normally the Ant-Man movies, the first two, you've seen them, they're usually just not related to the big overall Marvel thing. It's like, hey, there's a random sort of side plot. Ant-Man's dealing with it. Cool, right?
Mm.
And there's some fun humor. But this one didn't really have. It was like with the Kang intro, and he has some narration where he's like, oh, we kind of beat that, but everything's cool, right? And then it kind of just ends like that. And then the post-credit sequence is like an arena full of Kangs being all like cheering and yay, we're going to like mess stuff up or whatever.
Okay.
And so it was like good and bad that it was, they tried to connect it, but it wasn't fully connected,
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know. So it was just kind of, I guess, a tepid start to this supposed big bad they're going to build to again, right?
Can I
yeah.
interject for a moment?
Absolutely.
I have like a theory about what's wrong with Phase 5.
Do you want to wait till we're done and then you can get to it, or you want to get to it now?
Well, maybe I'll put it at the top of the episode.
Okay.
Just to yeah. So I think that the issue with Phase 5 is that building up to Thanos and creating a multiverse. The multiverse had never really been done before, to the scale that Marvel was doing it.
Yeah.
And it made it I remember when the first Avengers movie came out, and I was just completely fascinated that there was all these individual stories that you could watch, or you could watch the story of them all together, and doesn't really matter whether you watch all of them to understand the gist of the Avengers, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think building up to Thanos, I was just really, really invested the whole time. It's not that they were better or worse movies with better or worse actors or better or worse stories, but it was so interesting and fresh and exciting of a concept.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they defeat Thanos, it felt like a natural end for that. And the fact that it just keeps going, I mean, and people talk about superhero fatigue, and that's a thing too, but it's just it's not new and fresh anymore. Now it's been going on for 15 years?
Well, since 2008, of course, was the first Iron Man.
Yeah. So the excitement isn't there for me personally.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of excitement leading up to Infinity War, right? So I think that's part of the reason why I haven't really been focused on watching these movies anymore. It's not that it's not they're more or less good. It's just that the investment in something new and exciting isn't there for me.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of almost thinking that with the build up with Doctor Strange 2 and potentially the build up to the Kang situation is that they would break their multiverse and then they wouldn't do it anymore.
Oh,
But they haven't really kind of signaled that kind of thing. The one thing that I will get to it, but one thing I did like about Deadpool was it is clearly stated he's in his own universe. He's not in in the main one.
That's
cool. Which I was like, yeah. And that's been kind of my problem, not my problem, but that's one of the things that I did like about the Ant-Man, again, is that it's it's his own story. Not all these movies always have to be connected, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is, and that's one thing as well, when they were signaling we're going to build to Kang and the Kang Dynasty War or whatever, that it was maybe don't. Just make some, because that's one of the things I was talking with somebody and they're like, well, they're making sequels to all these comic movies. And I'm like, yeah, but that's comic books. If you ever read comic books, it's always continuing. It's always a sequel, right? So it's I'm fine with that, but it doesn't always have to be building to something. But I think also you got to live in the real world with those expectations that you have these actors signed. They're not going to be able to play the character forever, et cetera, et cetera. They want to go do other things eventually, right?
In a weird way, because Infinity War came out right before COVID, right? It came out towards the summer of 2019.
Yes, I think so.
And so COVID almost felt like a bookend to the Marvel universe as well.
Well, to movies, because they shut down for a long time.
Because they shut down, yeah. I mean, I really liked the first couple Marvel shows, especially WandaVision and the first season of Loki. I enjoyed the second season of Loki too, but it just seems like now it's so frequent and so often. Like they're trying. Do you remember when we were kids, which I know is like 5,000 years ago?
Yeah.
But there was like a Disney animated movie every single year.
Yes.
And like eventually, it's not like the quality dipped, but it was like they ran out of the big stories. Like, not that Aladdin was really like a big fairy tale, but like, you know, they kind of ran out of the really, really well known stories, and then it's just like their audience started to dip there too. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like that's what's going on with Marvel as well.
Yeah, no, it's that's why I kind of wanted to have this discussion talking a bit about these Phase 5 movies, because it is interesting that after Ant-Man came Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which we did an episode about. We both really liked it. James Gunn, of course, $250 million budget, box office 846, which was just under the second one. But again, there was some COVID issue times at that time, because that came out in May 2023. So it wasn't, you know, too bad, but movies weren't fully back yet, I think.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think we both really liked that one. And this is what I was wanted to kind of talk about, is because, you know, Ant-Man, not everyone, online discourse, let's just say, which is not everybody, was all like, Marvel's done, they got nothing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. There was the Jonathan Majors, you know, lawsuit stuff going, so they were trying to, like, retool. Then Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, everyone's like, Marvel's back, they know what they're doing. And it's like, well, yeah, it's, you know, they got the guy with a single vision, they let him do what he wants.
Yeah.
Right. Very enjoyable. But then that led into what kind of really spurred this all for me was The Marvels, which was November 2023, directed by Nia DaCosta, written by Nia DaCosta, Megan McDonald, and Alyssa Karasik. I've listened to Blank Check. Nia DaCosta has appeared on 2 episodes I've listened to on that podcast. Cool. She actually made the new Candyman, which I didn't know that until I was listening to that, which I did enjoy that actually as well. Nice. But this was interesting to me. Had a $220 million budget, up from the first one, which was 160. But the box office, here we go. The first one, 1.13 billion, because it came out in between the 2 Infinity Saga movies. This one, 206 million worldwide box office. So quite the drop there.
But you do have to remember a couple things. There's a few things you have to keep in mind. One is that for whatever reason, the internet hates Brie Larson.
They also, though, those people should be sending her checks, because they make her so much money.
Yeah.
She makes them money, sorry.
Yeah.
Because they're putting out hate articles and videos every week.
The internet hates Brie Larson.
Yeah.
And 2, it's a movie about women, which the internet also hates.
And again, I chalk this kind of up to like online discourse, you know, Twitter and Reddit, and that's not the population, right? Like that's not your average Joe, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Twitter is. I don't know. Yeah, like for me, okay, like we didn't do an episode about it. We've talked about maybe doing a commentary, which I'd still like to, but like,
yeah.
I liked the movie. I was really surprised when I was watching it that I was like, I don't understand where this, like, have people watch this, or is it just like you said, they're like Brie Larson hate, boom. Like it had team dynamics that all these movies, you know, they're good when they have that, because they had the young Ms. Marvel there. She's bringing that Peter Parker energy. She's excited to be a superhero, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I really liked about the Marvels is there was like 1 or 2 scenes where it could have devolved into like infighting melodrama. And just at the tip where it would have done that, Miss Marvel was like, hey guys, why are we fighting? We're a family. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're right. And it was refreshing to see that dynamic versus like, we have to go brood in separate corners and then we have to manufacture a reason to not be mad at each other anymore. So it was kind of nice for them to just be like, oh yeah, we kind of had a disagreement, but we're a team and we care about each other, and now we're going to go fight people.
Well, and I liked that the disagreement was like interpersonal between Brie Larson and Phantom, or Photon, sorry. because it was like, yeah, you didn't come see my mom when she was dying of cancer and didn't like come visit me, but I liked it because this movie, I liked that connected to the first Captain Marvel, so like tied. I wasn't expecting that. And she was like, I didn't want to do that because I literally genocided a population and I feel bad about it.
Yeah. No,
and she's like, I did visit, but you were in, in the Shadow Realm during the Thanos snap, right? Like, so I don't know. I was like, I'm digging all this. Caveat, there were things I didn't like about it.
Yeah, I didn't like the weird, like her weird marriage to the prince of
Sing Song.
Sing Song Island or whatever it was.
Sure.
I kind of found that annoying, but
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a deal breaker for me. I just was like, I would prefer to not have that in the movie.
Sure. I was kind of like shocked that it was like that they were doing it kind of a thing. I was like, wow, this is kind of out there, right?
I don't mind doing out there things. I think it just came across as like really fucking cheesy to me.
Yeah, cool, because it's like you think about language as it would have evolved, and you're like, if they can sing, they can talk. Like that doesn't translate. Like there was no extra element.
There.
What, sorry?
Does anybody rap on that planet?
Sure. That's what I was gonna say. There was no element of like, oh no, their vocal cords are like shells or something, so like they can only sing or something. Like, give us some sci-fi explanation.
Yeah. Right? It can be garbage. We don't mind.
Yeah, no, because like the action scene that followed it, I did like, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't like the villain dying at the end. Spoilers. From like overuse of her own power. I thought we were past that.
Yeah, that's a kind of annoying.
Yeah, I was like, when it was happening, I was like, really? They're doing that? Like, can't come up with another answer here? But I mean, I liked the team up fight at the end, the three of them against the accuser, and they're all using their powers and etc. I don't know. I was just like, this was straight down the line, like Marvel stuff for me. I didn't like, admittedly, all the stuff with the Flurgan / the cat. In that,
oh yeah, that's right. I like the cats.
I like the idea, but then having them swallow the people and then spit them out on Earth, I was like, that kind of devalues the dangerousness of being swallowed by that cat.
That's true.
Right. But whatever, they had to do something, with the crashing space station. Yeah, and it was just fun to have Ms. Marvel's family in there, where again, it's normal people being like, dude, this is messed up.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. I was like, wow, there was a lot in there, and yet it just. Nobody saw it.
Yeah, or they saw it just so that they could pick it apart. Like, I do think people go into it because, like, Brie Larson and women, that they went into it thinking, like, how... what am I trying to say? They went in looking for every error.
Yeah.
Like, they went into it with a CinemaSins state of mind.
Well, and I think there was some... But, maybe there was some stories about behind the camera stuff. And, and that's pretty standard with like a lot of these other ones that, aside from like the James Gunn ones or whatever, where it's like, they don't know what to do and blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of ideas and cooks in the kitchen. Like this one has 3 credited writers, right? So it's like, maybe there was some of that as well that, like you say, people are going in with like, wow, they're going to botch this up or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just overall for me, I did like it how Captain Marvel in the movie and her, like, she was just being tempered into becoming less impulsive with her godlike power, right? Like I said, I liked how I was like, oh, she did go back and destroy the Supreme Intelligence. I was like, that is sweet, right?
Yeah.
Like I was just like, she went back for revenge like she said she was going to. Normally, a lot of these characters don't do that kind of thing.
No. They're like, we've learned and grown, and now I'm a better man. And she's like, no.
Yeah. And then she realizes how she's like, oh, I kind of screwed up, and now it's coming back to haunt the things I like. I don't know. I was like, I liked it.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. It wasn't my favorite Marvel movie, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And like I said, there was just like such a discourse around it that it was like, I'm surprised it did as poorly as it did box office wise. It was almost
women.
Yeah, but then it was just like, this was like another level. Wait, oh no, 2023. Never mind. I was gonna say, wasn't that near the election? Or wasn't that near the election?
Who knows? American elections just go on for like
Oh, yeah.
6 years.
That's coming up this year. Never mind.
That's this year, yeah.
Yeah. I'm lost in time. I did this side note story. I was looking at my firearms license because I know it's like the year after my driver's license, and it literally said like 2024, and I was like, oh my god, I missed it.
Yeah.
I screwed up, blah blah blah, and I was like, no wait, now it's 2024. I'm okay. Like I literally thought it was expired. Clearly, I'm old.
Yeah, you're an old, confused man.
Exactly. But that brings us to the last movie so far that has been released in this set, which was Deadpool and Wolverine. Just came out in July 2024. Director Sean Levy. You got all the writers on this one: Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Remick, Rob Zeb Wells, sorry, and Sean Levy as well. This one, they doubled the budget, literally $200 million compared to the first one, which was 58, and the second one, which was 110. So far, box office, this one's cruised past $1 billion already. It's like 1.048, I think it's at. The first one, 783. So that was quite the return on their 58 million back then.
Yeah.
And the second one still made 786 on their 110. So the Deadpool movies have done consistently well. I've seen some commentary that it was like, oh, this movie should have come out already previously. I think, or you were mentioning that maybe as well to me.
So here's what's my concern.
Okay.
Because when did the second Deadpool come out? Like 2016 or something?
I don't have that in front of me, but I could look it up.
Okay. I just feel like the style of humor that was in the first and second movie of Deadpool was more suited to 10 years ago than to today.
2018, by the way.
2018, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was more suited to then than now. Like, a lot has changed in, like, the style of humor that people enjoy and the style of dialogue that people enjoy. Like, if you go back and you watch like a gross out teen movie from the early 2000s, they're unfucking watchable.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe like two of them survive, but the rest of the crop, no. Yeah.
But even like the concept of American Pie, it's hard to watch now, but it was hilarious in 2000 when it came out. And so my like lukewarm feelings towards Deadpool and Wolverine was that I don't want to watch something that has 2016 humor now. Like, it's just not as entertaining to me.
Yeah.
It's not what I enjoy anymore. So that was my big thing. And I still haven't seen it. I think I probably will because I've heard really good things, like from you, and my parents both really liked it. Tony was kind of, he liked it but didn't love it. Like, he thought he enjoyed the other two more.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one, not to interrupt too much, sorry, was like they all three of them, they do have like a small kernel of like a heart story wrapped in the Deadpool comedy, right?
Right.
And this one I found maybe I'm just because I'm a juvenile man, but I didn't find the jokiness of it like it too like off-putting in a sense. Like, I wasn't laughing at every joke or reference, but I definitely was chuckling or did laugh out loud at a few. But it didn't grate on me in any way. And that heart story was still there. And that's what made it watchable, right?
Yeah, because I was, like, even thinking about, remember when, like, all the Judd Apatow movies were, like, super popular? Like, those, I mean, I never found those super hilarious, but
I literally have never seen any of them.
You've ever seen, like, 40-Year-Old Virgin or...
I saw 40-Year-Old Virgin. I didn't see Knocked Up. I didn't see This Is 40. I didn't see any of the other ones he's done. I
recently watched This Is 40, and I was, like... crying during it because I think I was PMSing, but also I turned 40 in February and I was just like, ah.
I've heard it's really good, but I just
I enjoyed it, but I was just like, oh my god, it hits too close to home.
No, like you said, it was just never really my style. I was just kind of I'm not into cringe comedy, right?
Yeah.
So,
like, I think like when, again, this is early 2000s, but like when Napoleon Dynamite came out, I laughed hysterically at it, but now watching it, I'm like, oh, this poor boy needs some help, like, that he's not getting, right? Like, that's, I don't know. Maybe that's just something that comes with age, but I think that was my main, like, reservation around seeing Deadpool and Wolverine was that I'm like, I don't want to watch that kind of humor right now.
Sure. Well, or like maybe like many people, it's like maybe I do want to watch something that's like a refreshing, humory thing versus everything else that, like you say, is kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's clearly doing well at the box office. But yeah,
I'm probably wrong and everyone else is right, and I'm okay with that.
No, and that's kind of like I was saying, that's what's so interesting about this crop of Marvel movies versus, you know, in the beginning, especially like when they were doing their ramp up, it was like, you know, there was some hit or I think people nostalgia forget that there were hits and misses. They just thought everything was just bangers, and it's like, no, like they were good in their own ways, or they were like not as well received or whatever kind of thing. You know, everyone can cite Thor: The Dark World or whatever, right? Which is not terrible. But it wasn't.
I didn't mind Dark World.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But it wasn't like a banger.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
But so like there were misses in there, right? But it's like, you know, looking back at rose-colored glasses or whatever kind of thing. Whereas I think it's like the same with this Marvel Phase 5. I think it's more like we're just living through it, and we have something to compare it to. Whereas in the past we didn't.
That's very true. Yeah.
Which I think or maybe it was before. Like, where did Love and Thunder fall in this? Wasn't it after Quantumania? Oh, I'm gonna look that up. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't like Love and Thunder.
I liked like half of it.
It felt so disjointed and strange.
That's the problem. I liked half of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the year before. Sorry, so it was 2020.
It felt like Taika Waititi just didn't want to make it and made it clear to everybody.
Well, or just like I think we spoke about it, that it was just like, if you want to make another Thor comedy, do that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to make Mighty Thor with cancer, do that.
Yeah, but don't
with the God Butcher, but don't combine them.
Yeah.
You got a guy.
That was like, that year was disappointing for me because I was really looking forward to that, and I was really looking forward to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I didn't really enjoy because it didn't have enough multiverse in it for me.
I was hoping,
and also because Everything Everywhere All at Once came out in the same week, I think, and
it was definitely within the same 2-week span.
Yeah, and I was comparing them, and I was like, this is a way better multiverse movie because it's just a way better movie, period.
Yeah. We did an episode about it.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's such a good. I rewatched that recently too, and it's
you were saying
it's still so good.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into Deadpool Wolverine because it's out right now. You know, no spoilers and all that stuff like that. You know, like I said, Reynolds and Jackman, were amazing. They were both like he got the same proportions, I think, as he did in like the second Wolverine, maybe. Like, he is cut.
Oh yeah.
Like he is cut for sure. And there was just some fun cameos and unexpected stuff here and there. I felt like that the villains like kind of kickoff plot was kind of weak, but it was just kind of like the reason to go on the fun adventure, right? But then the introduction of the second villain and then what they're about, I was like, all right, you know, now we got some stakes here. So.
And I can't remember their name, but one of them's played by the non-binary actor that played Diana in The Crown.
I don't have their name up either. I just went with
Young Diana, not what Elizabeth Debicki. What's her name?
Elizabeth Debicki?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, and one note about the Cassandra, I believe is her name, is I didn't know, like, you don't notice when you're watching it, of course, is that they gave her finger extensions. So she has like super long hands and fingers, and it just looked fine. Like, it looked great. And then I was watching a thing with her talking about it, like an interview, and she was like, oh no, people like would be like coming up to me and being, what's wrong with your hands or whatever. And like, no, it's like finger extensions for the movie. Because she does a lot with her hands in them, like, versus spoilers-ish, she's Professor X's twin. And while he can just read minds, she has to like touch you to read your mind. So she's always kind of salad fingering on everybody.
Excellent. Did Salad Finger turned like 20 this year?
Probably.
Yeah. I saw a clip came up on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but it was like celebrating his 20th anniversary.
Nice.
In a gross way.
Yeah.
If there's any Gen Zers watching, which I doubt it because we're old people and our opinions don't matter, you should go look up Salad Fingers.
Yeah, they're not seeing us on TikTok, so.
Yeah, it's true. So we don't exist.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just wanted to have kind of a small conversation about it, because for me, like these 4 movies, yeah, there's some up and downs in there, but overall, I was entertained by all of them. I didn't hate that I watched them, and I was like, oh my god, Marvel, you suck, or whatever kind of thing. I'm more just kind of like, interesting. What are they trying to do? Because they're kind of listless, and they've kind of admitted that. There, like I said, that there was the Jonathan Majors situation, which I don't know the resolution of that. I've heard some stuff, but I haven't really looked into it. I usually don't bother. So it's kind of like they didn't know what to do, and they're trying to retool, and it's just kind of like, yeah, they don't know what they're doing in a sense.
You know,
and that's kind of okay, because like I said, they could take a moment to like reset and be like, okay, here's the movies we want to make with some not either new characters or old characters, but like, yeah, because they obviously announced Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doom. Well, I don't want to get into it. We'll get to it later, I assume. Yeah.
Huh.
We'll get to it another day, but that it's like, yeah, I've always been okay since the build up to the big Avengers, that it's like, that's okay now to like split these people up and just have them be their own movies again. Like they don't need to connect into a big overall thing anymore. That's fine. Right? But it seems like audiences, or at least online discourse, they're like, what are they building to? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, just have them do adventures. Like you brought in the Eternals, but now it doesn't look like that's going to continue. You got Blade and maybe Black Sword, and it's like, yeah, just make your Blade movie. Like it doesn't have to connect. Just make vampires. Right? You know, they got the Fantastic Four coming up with Pedro Pascal and like sounds like a killer cast. I forget her name from Mission Impossible.
Oh wow, yeah. She's so good.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, you're doing that, like. I don't know. It's like, it's okay to be separate again if you want, right?
You know, I know that like What If already touched on this, but what if they did more of the like weird spin-off one-off stories like Marvel Zombies, or what's the Neil Gaiman one called? Like 1602.
1602, yeah.
Yeah, like that would be a good way to like have movies that use the characters but that differentiate themselves from the rest of the MCU, right?
Yeah.
They could even like, get the actors back for one-off movies, right? Like that. So that might be an option.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that they've talked about all these kinds of things, but it's who knows? And it's also after the previous strikes, things cost more. Like even the Deadpool, like you got to think $200 million budget. They got to pay Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Maybe they took a lesser salary, maybe they took points on the back end of it or whatever kind of thing. He gets writing credit too, so it's like, things just cost more. Everything costs more. That's normal. But it's like, I don't know. And Disney's having issues all over the place, right? Like,
what they need to do is what I said before. Plus, jump around with your time, your decades that it takes place in. I would love to see.
That costs money.
No, but like I would love to see like a movie set in the 80s about Dazzler, like the weird ones, right?
Yeah.
Like Dazzler is lame. She
makes light, right?
She turns sound into light.
Yeah.
And she was kind of like a pop star, but like you could have a lot of fucking fun with that, right? Or like Cloak
you could do like
fighting like drug dealers on the street. That would be fun. I'd watch that. Do like the weird Shadow Cat where she has her pet dragon Loki. Like go weird, go all over the place.
Well, and I think there's that tension between like the old suits, let's say, and potentially like creatives or even Feige, that like maybe people are pitching these ideas and they're like, no, that's not gonna work, or this or that.
Probably.
Audience, like they don't give audiences credit that it's like, no, audiences want weird stuff. I think you'll see if you give it to them, they'll see it. Maybe like you're saying, like a Dazzler movie could be 80s set, and you have like like a total flash dance aesthetic and pop music like thing.
Yeah, you could make her a pop star.
People would see that probably,
I
right?
think they would, yeah. Or
Yeah.
like the early 90s Rogue, like pre X-Men cartoon Rogue, when she had her killer mohawk and she flew around and stuff. Like just go for that shit, right? Like it's interesting and fun and different.
Yeah, and it's kind of I feel like at this point, especially with the Marvel machine, in a sense that occasionally they slip through, like the James Gunn, say Guardians 3,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's too much, not trusting a creative essentially.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they don't want to give it up because it's like, well, yeah, it's sure you can do your idea, but it's like it's going to cost $150 million or whatever. And so they want to be like, we got our hands in there, but. Maybe, like you say, a Dazzler kind of thing.
They should, you know what they should do is rescue Sydney Sweeney from Sony and make her Dazzler.
Sure.
She'd be great.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Sydney Sweeney in the 80s as Dazzler. Or, you know who else would be good in a different way? Is Mia Goth. Yeah, grab her out of horror movies and stick her in an X. Like, just find popular people that like, and stick them in weird Marvel movies. It worked before. Do it again.
Yeah, make them more star driven rather than like it's this character. It's like no, it's this star, but they're playing this character, and you're like, oh, it's kind of weird. Like, and that's like you're saying, that excitement or that interest. Like for me, when they announce a casting in the past, where you're like, oh, I don't know about that really, and then it works, and you're like, oh, cool, like I was totally wrong, right?
Totally, like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. You need more of that shit, right? Rescue some actors that have been out of the limelight for a bit, but that have been like in the past really successful, and let them be the charismatic drive that the movie needs, right?
Well, and I think this kind of goes back to what I was saying as well, like you're pitching is that it's okay to just do like some singular movies. It doesn't have to be all connected to everything. It's just make it like make your Blade movie.
Make a Blade movie.
It's been in development hell for like 4 years or 5 years now or whatever. It's like
who is playing Blade?
I don't want to mispronounce his name. I'll look it up here. But they do have like an announce. It's been announced and everything. Blade. So far, the announced names are Mia Goth and
nice. Okay, so you listened to me already.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali.
Oh, okay. What's he from?
He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's one of those guys you would recognize like immediately.
Oh, okay.
He was in Incredible. That's Voice. He did in True Detective. He was in Alita: Battle Angel, your favorite movie. Green Book as well. But he's got a pretty recognizable face and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like you would recognize him if you saw him. But no, good actor. But like I said, it was announced years ago that it's like, they've been script issues, and I think the script issues potentially could be the attempt to connect it with other things. And it's like,
don't
Blade.
Do it.
Yeah, he hunts vampires.
Listen, the original Blade movies worked because it had techno movies or techno music and vampire sex clubs. So just do that again.
Yeah, and it's like we don't need to see the origin of vampires and all that other crap.
Don't give a shit. We just want to watch. We want to watch a cool guy in a cool jacket with a cool sword cut down vampires who are horny.
Led by Mia Goth.
Played by Mia Goth, and we want techno music.
Well, they got to do at least one techno music. Oh, who you get if they could get him? Reznor to do the score.
Yeah, they should get Reznor to do the score. That would be great.
And then you do like some heavy 9 Inch Nails like scene where it's just like banging and he's fighting vampires and it's badass.
This is what they should listen up, Marvel. Listen up, Mr. Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
I've got some inspiration for you. Really talented actors, really talented score makers, really talented writers, really talented directors doing weird shit in other decades. The end. Don't connect it. Just do that. People will fucking love it.
Yeah, and not just to like bag on Disney, of course. Like many studios are having these issues right now with their films and projects where they're just like, oh, what do we do? And blah, blah. And like you're saying, you're like, you hire somebody with a good pitch and you give them the money, let them make it. Like,
Yeah.
Isn't that what you guys want? They want to
Go
make
scoop
art. You want to
Alex
make money.
Garland to do an Elektra movie. We all want to see it. We know that he can write powerful women. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be dark and depressing and really fucking weird, and it'll be great, and we want to see that. Do that.
Will she have hobbies, Devin?
No, absolutely not. She's a Garland girl.
Yeah, exactly. She has size and stabbing.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, no grand conclusion or theory. I just thought like I said, I wanted to talk about those movies and just like the overall kind of discourse around them that, I don't know, like, I just want to say they weren't all terrible.
Yeah. Well, I had another idea.
Okay. In our pitch episode.
So, really cool superhero when they're old and they can't face being old. The end. That's an interesting movie.
They did that with Logan.
Oh, fuck, they did, didn't they? Do it again. It worked once.
Yeah. You could do another one for sure.
Do it again.
Well, that was funny because, like, of course, when they did X-Men Origins Wolverine, that was meant to kick off a whole series of, like, origin movies.
That's right.
That didn't work. Old Man Logan worked. Do another old man, whatever.
Yeah. Or just, like, stop telling origin stories. Just drop us in the middle of something. We can catch up.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's
Don't
like you're saying.
underestimate your audience. We will catch up to what's going on.
Yeah, like they didn't start that in Blade 1. It came later in the movie that he's just oh, my mom was bit by a vampire, blah, 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 backstory. But like you're saying, it's not like...
Don't even do backstory.
No, but that's what I mean. It's not even the beginning of the movie. It's just like, here he is killing vampires. It's cool.
Or like, I don't know, do... something like they touch on this in Civil War, but do a story about the tension between superheroes and the rest of the world. I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Have people debating about whether or not superheroes should be around. I guess the X-Men movies did that too with the mutants, but.
Well, and I think they attempted a Powers show, which was that kind of, like there's a comic, it's called Powers, and it's about like a detective who like, they live in a superhero world. Like they live in the Marvel world and they're just like, it's messed up, right? Kind of thing.
Oh my God, do you know what I would watch? Is a movie about a normal person who's in a relationship with a superhero.
Sure.
And it's just them dealing with like, fuck, my boyfriend just leveled a city to save a kitten or something, right? Like, I don't know. Just come at it from every angle. Like, tell the story from the villain's side. There's lots of shit you can do. Just do it all. Try it all. And just start with good actors, good directors, good writers, and good musical score folk.
Well, and I think part of the issue is, like you're saying, it's like, this is not just Marvel/Disney. It's like all of them now, they only make like 3 big movies a year, and they're just like, they cost so much, and you're like, we didn't know how good we had it essentially up till the 2000s, in that they were like, there's like 10 smaller movies and some hit, some don't. Streaming, of course, sucks up a lot of that stuff, like the rom-com genre and all that kind of thing. But, something like, there's just once in a while, like I listen to an episode of Blank Check on something, or like, you see something nostalgic and you're like, man, they would never make this anymore. Right?
I saw a really good documentary on YouTube, and I can't remember where it was, otherwise I'd tell people to go watch it. But basically it was talking about how in 1999, just a shit ton of great movies came out. And it was because of like a lot of things, but there was a really good intersection of multiplexes being around for the first time and having to fill multiple theaters, which gave independent movie production companies more money to do more things. And that's why we got like stuff like Fight Club and I don't know, that's the only one I could think of. Matrix came out in 99. Yeah, like that's why we got those kind of movies.
The funniest thing about The Matrix is I saw it opening night in a theater with some classmates of mine. I have a CS degree. I'm a nerd. And there was like 10 people in the theater. And then that movie went on to become like the juggernaut that is The Matrix.
Yeah.
But like we walked out of that theater being like, that was one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Do you want to hear something funny about The Matrix? Is that I would have been like, what, 12 or 13 when it came out? And I had actually originally gone to see The Mummy with my dad.
Great movie.
Because it was out at the same time.
Yeah.
But I have like a real fucking thing about bugs under the skin. Like bugs crawling under
Sorry,
people.
you cut out.
Oh, sorry. What part did I cut out?
After you said, yeah, I went and saw The Mummy.
Okay, so I went and saw The Mummy with my dad.
Yep.
And we were watching it, but I have a real like ick towards bugs under the skin.
Yes.
So when that part happened, I was like, I can't watch this movie. So we walked out and we went into The Matrix, which was after the bug in the skin part.
Oh, really?
So we watched like from that to the end, and I was just like, this is the best movie ever. So I didn't actually see the beginning of The Matrix for like almost a year. But yeah, it was just like, but I did eventually go watch the rest of The Mummy, which is also a great movie because Brendan Fraser has like an award-winning smile in that movie. But yeah, just like that was such a good year for movies, and it was partially due to the rise in multiplex theaters.
And also I could see that as well, like you're saying, is that there was, like we talked about last time, the crop of music video directors and commercial directors then making the jump into film. Like Fincher made Fight Club. He was a music video director. Michael Bay was a music video director. Like these guys were like, I'm stepping into this world now, and just like, we're doing it, right? So
yeah, and they kind of like came at it from like, I guess, visuals first, and
well, especially Fincher.
Yeah.
Because he was a special effects artist.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like he worked on Star Wars. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, he literally worked at ILM. Like he knows visual effects. But yeah, no, you're totally right that they came at it from a different angle and like just changed cinema, right?
I wonder if in the next like 5 to 10 years, if there'll be another like reinvention of cinema due to like directors coming out of TikTok. No, it sounds ridiculous, but like people that have this 15-second mentality making like long form content, like, or long form films and stuff. I wonder like how that will change the language of cinema for this time period.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I do recall hearing something similar about like Vine.
Yeah. But then Vine kind of turned into
not Vine.
Not Vine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years.
But see, and there's a flip to that too, because I know I've talked about it with you as well, and on that show, when watching, say, something older or even something new made by like a different director, but like when they let like a scene kind of breathe a little bit and there is more length to it, and you're just like, oh yeah, versus like something that's like, we gotta go, cut, and you're just like, dude, I didn't even give me a second here.
Because I think, and I mean, we've talked about this before, but I do think that existing filmmakers are influenced by TikTok and making viral clips that will go viral on TikTok, right?
You've definitely talked about that.
Yeah, I know. It's my pet.
It's your conspiracy theory.
It's my conspiracy theory and my pet peeve in fucking Umbrella Academy. I feel like they just make scenes that will make good little 15-second clips, and then they string it together with melodrama. Yeah, dancing, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about people who come from the mindset of making short clips and then turning it into longer content. But that's also why, like, to circle back to Everything Everywhere All at Once, that scene when they turn into rocks is so great and so like attention grabbing, because the movie's been so fast paced up to that point, and then there's literally silence and no movement or anything going on, and there's barely any like camera
ambient noise or anything. Yeah.
It's interesting.
It was definitely wild. I remember it in the theater. It was just like you said, you could take a breath as an audience, and then you were just like, all right, we're sitting here for like 30 seconds, and then it keeps going, and you're like, it's like a minute, 2 minutes? How long are we doing this?
Yeah, like, no, the director's like, no, I'm physically making you stop and contemplate everything that's happened up to this point.
I don't know if you've seen RoboCop recently, but if you
I don't know if I've
recall,
seen RoboCop.
great movie. But when Murphy, the cop, dies and then he's going to be turned into RoboCop, there's a cut with the black screen. And Verhoeven, the director, wanted that screen to last like 3 minutes or something like that. And the studio was like, you can't do that. Like, no. And he's like, yeah, but it's like that's the whole point is like, we're dying here, but we're going to be reborn and etc. And it's like, 30 seconds long or something like that kind of thing. But he wanted it to go on for like minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, we could wrap up, I guess. Yeah, because like I said, I just thought it was just interesting, this phase and this kind of discourse, and I don't know what they have coming up next. I guess I could have looked that up, whatever.
I think there's another Sony Marvel movie coming out.
Yeah, but those don't come. Those are spum movies. They don't count.
Spum. Yeah,
that's point. The Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies.
I'll look it up really quick if you want.
No, I mean I could do it. I got my computer right in front of me.
There, who cares?
Oh, there's a Captain America coming. That's what it is.
Oh, right. I still haven't seen the trailer for that.
I don't watch trailers. You know that.
Fair.
Yeah, that's coming February. There's Thunderbolts. Fantastic Four. Yeah, there's still some stuff that's like announced, but I don't know if there's like fully, like Agatha All Along is still coming.
Oh, okay.
Daredevil's still coming. Yeah, Daredevil's still coming. So there's still some stuff on the slate. But as far as the movies, I think the next big one is Captain America.
Okay.
Captain America. So that'll be interesting anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. It's like maybe, again, people are looking back with more nostalgia. Like you said, there is that feeling of like there's the no build up. And so that's got people kind of like,
It doesn't feel fresh anymore.
Sure. And I think that's okay. Because
no, they have to do what I said.
Sure. No, but like I said, like that's comic books and, they continue their stories and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
Okay, where were we?
Well, we were just kind of wrapping up.
We were wrapping up. Yeah, some Marvel movies. They're okay.
I again, at this time, I would repeat, I would recommend seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. I enjoyed it, and it was a good time.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe I'll go see it. Who knows?
Not the date recording. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, go for it.
That's fine. I'll tell you after.
Fine. It'll be a secret from our audience.
Oh, sheesh. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up then.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for listening. We appreciate your patience while I am finishing school. If you enjoyed this podcast, what do we tell them to do? Like it, subscribe,
rate, review, share,
Follow us on YouTube and Instagram, which is Tome of Uselessness everywhere. Send us an email, tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. You can give us episode suggestions, tell us that we're wrong and stupid. To say, actually, the internet doesn't hate women or Brie Larson, but she totally deserves to hate shit. What else could you could tell us about what you had for dinner, what your hopes and dreams are. We might even respond or make an episode about it if it's something that's relevant. Probably not your hopes and dreams. That probably won't be an episode.
You'll get a shout out.
Unless you're Kevin Feige and you want to tell us what your plans for the Marvel MCU is.
Or you want to hire us as consultants, we're there.
You know what? I'd be so much cheaper than all your other consultants and I'd still make more money than I've ever made in my life.
Yeah. Me too.
Anyways, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up. We love you.
Stay safe and thanks for listening.
Yeah, bye.